Welcome to Sustainable Packaging with Cory Connors. Today's guest is my friend Michelle Salas, the founder and president of Lady Green Recycling. Hey, Michelle.
Hey, Cory. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome.
Today.
I really appreciate your time, and I'm totally impressed with what you've built from nothing, and it's incredible. So kudos to you. You're making a huge impact in the world of sustainable packaging and recycling. And I would just like to, before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about your background.
Sure. And before I get into that, thank you so much for having me, and congrats to you too on all the awesome things you're doing as well.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure. So a little bit about me. I'm originally from Managua, Nicaragua. I was born there, but I was raised in South Florida and Miami. I've spent here most of my life. I lived down in California for a little bit, but other than that, this has been my hometown. And I was in commercial real estate in 2008. And that's when I noticed that a lot of businesses weren't recycling. And since I was like a teenager, I always knew I wanted to start a business, but I wasn't sure what kind of business. I just knew it had to be something meaningful and involved in something that I'm passionate about. So I've always been passionate about the environment and animals. So that's when I first thought of the idea of starting recycling a business back in 2008, when there was a lot of contamination in the recycling bins. A lot of businesses weren't recycling, and I just saw an opportunity there. But it wasn't until 2 years later in grad school that I took a class on sustainability and talked about the natural process of recycling and how nature sustains itself for billions of years through one of the main principles, which is recycling. And then that's when it clicked for me, because I had that idea for two years almost, and I still had that plan to do it, but I was just very busy working full time and going to school. And so, but once I got that knowledge and I felt like I had those tools, I was inspired enough to, you know what, let me start the business. And that was when I really started it in 2010. But it wasn't until about the end of 2012, 2013 that I was able to quit my full-time job. I had up to 3 jobs. I had Lady Green, a full-time job, a part-time job. So around 2013, that's when I finally was able to focus 100% on Lady Green, and I've been doing it since.
Wow. Sounds like you don't shy away from hard work. Well done.
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
Well, kudos to you. Anybody that founds a company,
You
I'm
gotta
always
love what you
impressed
do.
with.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So 2008 was a tough time to be a realtor, if I recall.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I wasn't a realtor. I was doing like marketing and stuff. So I was an assistant to the vice president, and so I was involved like looking around in the commercial buildings, and that's really when I got an eye for it. But I had no idea about the industry or how hard it is to get in and how monopolized it was. So it was if I knew that, I probably wouldn't have started it, because I went in there just like with all the optimism and thinking, hey, since there's like no businesses are recycling, and I knew there's an ordinance here, I might as well start. And it's hard work, like you said, but it's worth it. So.
Oh. Well, before we started the podcast, you told me the story of how you came up with the name of the company. Can you tell us that?
Yeah. So I was thinking of a couple names. I had one that was Treasure Collectors. I kind of like that one. But then, I didn't really think much of it. I just thought Lady Green Recycling, because my dog's name is Lady Green. She passed away in 2015, but she's my best friend. I was very close to her, and so that's why I came up with it. And a lot of people think that Lady Green is because of me, but it's not. It's because of my dog. And but I don't mind, because a lot of times maybe somebody may not remember my name, but they'll remember Lady Green, so I don't mind. It could represent a lot of things, really. So
yeah, it's a memorable name, and it's a great one. So good choice.
Thank you. She's part of the brand. My animals are part of my brand and part of my story, because we focus a lot on education. We have a lot of educational books and tools, and so I've always been wanting to incorporate my story and my animals, because they are part of my story. Through me, starting the business, Lady, I feel bad that I was working so much, and she sacrificed a lot while I was working the first few years, and I didn't get to spend a lot of time with her, but they were my support system. So
they're family. Yeah, animals get us through things, and I totally believe that and love that. So tell us about Lady Green Recycling. What do you do? What's your focus?
Okay, so we are a grassroots sustainable waste management company, and we offer waste pickup services. Our garbage goes to the waste to energy facility. We also collect your conventional recycling materials from cardboard, paper, aluminum cans, plastic bottles. And we've recently, the last year and a half, we started taking on more materials, which I'm really excited about, from flex packaging, shrink wrap, many different types of materials. And we also started processing some materials in-house, and that's also been really exciting. So it's opened up the door, many doors, because I'm sure you know that recycling hasn't been easy for many years, for a long time, especially for a small business like myself, like Lady Green. But thankfully things have really turned the corner, and a lot of things have changed for the better, I see, at least. So
Do you feel like it's getting easier to set things up with residents?
well, we mainly do, for the recycling, we mainly do commercial. And
okay.
yeah, and as far as the recycling for business, yes, I see like there's a lot more interest in recycling than there were years ago, in general, from small businesses to mid to large businesses, which is really good. Because I remember, years ago it was really hard to be able to get recycling clients, but now, a lot of things have changed. There's a lot of different components why this is becoming more of an interest and a demand. So yeah, it's been good. A lot of work, I don't mind, but that's what we want to do. We want to be able to scale it.
It seems like the time in the history that I've seen where recycling is really growing the most and the fastest. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, there's been so much investment pouring in from, different types of industries come together, which that's what we need. And because we are strengthening numbers, and so like never before, definitely. Ever since COVID, things have picked up, and also because of all the ESG and SDG standards now, that's also created a motivation for businesses as well. But everything that we're seeing too, everything that we're seeing on social media nowadays, now a lot of people know how bad it is out there when it comes to pollution and waste. So I think that's also taking, an effect. So I just see it continuing to grow. I mean, there's been, like I mentioned, I'm sure there's been a lot of money being poured in this, that I think we're going to start seeing the impacts of it. We're already seeing, but we're going to continue seeing in the next couple of years and more. And so we're also seeing a lot of interest from municipalities and, different parts of the city. So that's also good. And yeah, so how about you? Have you seen any more momentum going?
Yes, absolutely. Things are changing fast, and companies are pushing hard, and laws are pulling harder to encourage gently and not so gently these companies to get their act together. And I think you'll see a lot of what we're calling zero waste, or zero waste to landfill, which is exactly where you fit in, because you're diverting and keeping up that supply to recyclers rather than to reuse or recycling rather than to landfill. So to me, you're doing good work. We appreciate it.
Thank you. And like I said, I mean, thankfully, I love what I do, because things are just, we're getting more busier, and I couldn't be more grateful, because there's so much opportunity. I really want to create like a lot of impact, and I think finally that I'm having more of that opportunity, come along, because we really don't have a lot of time to waste.
That's it. There's a sense of urgency, right? And that's good, right?
There you go. Yeah, and that's why plastics, that's been our main focus. And as far as our clients, we can recycle just about whatever they have, but I'm really more interested in recuperating as much plastic too, different kinds of plastics, going after the businesses. The supermarkets are not necessarily recycling their grocery bags and stuff like that. Yeah. And Cory, by the way, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, do you work with Trex?
Yes, we do.
Great company.
Yeah, we process some bags. Yeah, they're a great company. And we always want to keep it domestic as well. Any of the materials that we collect, from the plastic, the PET, that's something that our goal is to keep that material domestically. And And yeah, Trex is a great company. We do process some of those plastic bags in-house to make, different products like, yeah, actually what I was going to say is that I got a little sidetracked and I forgot to mention a couple other services that we offer.
Please.
So,
It's your show.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate it. So some other services that we also offer recycling metrics to our clients. And this is something we've noticed that our clients really enjoy and appreciate. And we also see that it helps when it comes to motivating their staff members to recycle more and properly. And so our clients get to see their monthly reports, how much they recycled per pickup. They can also check it on our Lady Green app. They can check their recycling metrics. Other services that we offer, when we start a recycling service with a business or a school or whoever it is, we always create an education campaign. All of our services are completely customized. So we create flyers, videos, and everything, branded to the organization. And we also, as you know, we have educational books. We have a Lady Green Club children's book, a recycling activity book, and our compost toolkit. So right now, since we've been so busy acquiring more business and operations, I haven't really spent a lot of time trying to develop like selling it. So what we're doing right now with our books is that we are, giving access to that to all of our, so then they can already start. So that's something that like all of our schools or the younger folks have access to when they sign up with us. But they're also, they can be donated to. So we do work with sponsors. For example, they can sponsor a school, like a 1-year recycling program, and they get all the recycling toters, education campaign, the books. And so we also offer sponsorship services, which that's also been like a good ad for us because it opens up more opportunities. And now, for example, we have clients that they recycle with us, but then they also sponsor 1 or 2 schools. And we also notice that they enjoy that too. They really appreciate like, oh, we would be happy to sponsor a school for a year. And the schools love it too, because it's free. And it's, we cater to our clients. Like, we'll go and introduce the recycling program. We also, we keep in touch with them. If we see contamination, we send them reports, send them pictures, because we want to make sure that the material that we collect is clean. And if we are seeing contamination, we want to communicate that so we can, avoid that. And then they're also learning as well. So
that's amazing.
Education.
I was just going to ask you about the books and the educational part of your business. Can you, Lady Green Club, I love it. And just very well done. I was impressed by your website. And Michelle is, for those listening, is showing me on the camera. So I'll put this on YouTube so you guys can all see it.
Got it.
And I would like to know, just out of curiosity, how much would it cost for somebody to come in and sponsor a school? A business maybe wants to sponsor. What's an average? Something like that.
So I'll give an average, and this would be based on some schools, and depending on the size, they may just need a once a month pickup or once every 2 weeks. So for example, if a school's going to get sponsored for once a month, it could be anywhere between $1,500 to $1,600. And that includes the education campaign, the recycling pickup, the processing, everything. And that's worth for 1 year. So I actually think, I personally think that's a great deal for everybody. And schools, like I mentioned, they love it.
Well, and what a worthy cause. We need to teach our youth what to do with this stuff. And so well done. $1,600 for a year to teach a whole school. Wow, what a deal. And good for you.
Yeah, and then we also, for example, we offer that, like, technically schools from outside of our region can also be sponsored on the education component. So for example, we don't have to be the haulers, but we can implement the whole education campaign. So we'll study their actual recycling program, then we'll create all the campaigns, all the videos. The videos will show, like, for example, the school logo or the company logo. Like I said, everything tailored to it. And yeah, so that's another way too that we're able to reach outside of South Florida, and because education is important, as long as they have the education part, because as you know, as I'm sure you know, wherever you go, depending on where you go, the recycling markets may vary.
Yeah.
For example, in Miami, there's not a recycling market. and other states, I'm sure they're recycling or they're composting, stuff like that. So every program needs to be customized to whatever they're picking up.
Wow, no recycling in Miami. That's really sad.
For
That's
glass.
oh, just for glass. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
And that's something that we also want to be able to accept eventually. But it is a material that, there's other materials that are easier to process, and these
yeah.
could be corrosive, and you mix them, and but hopefully maybe within the year I want to start collecting that. But right now we're really starting to like focus on just, well, like getting a lot. We're really busy getting all these type of materials and processing them. So I want to just make sure that, that continues growing steady. And then I'll worry about that stream, because like I said, to us, the urgency is the plastics, and there's so much of it, and that's not being collected, that, we gotta go after it.
And you're not just recycling, you're turning that material into new things.
Mhm.
Isn't that true? Can you speak to that a little bit for the
Yeah,
audience?
absolutely. So we're currently processing in-house HDPE and PP plastic, and some LDPE, which is like the soft plastics. And for the PET bottles, actually, that's what I originally wanted to start processing in-house, because there's a lot more of that. But since we currently have semi-industrial machines, because what I wanted to do too when I launched, I pivoted about a year and a half ago. I like to start processing our plastics. So this happens like, almost maybe 2 years ago. I had for a while, for years, I've been like always been wanting to do this for a long time, but it was hard getting funding and all that. And but things are better now. And so I wanted to find a way how to strengthen the plastic recycling market. So finally I got my machines. And what I want to do is like our goal is to build the demand first before I invest in more robust machinery. And so, and also part of this, what I'm doing is part of it's mainly because of the education part, because we also do a lot of educational footage and videos about the process, how it goes. And we also make products for our clients from the waste, the recyclables that we get from them. So that way they can see the entire circle. So these processing, we're doing it for clients. Let me see, we have this is like a coaster that we made for a client.
I love it. Awesome.
Yeah. And so we have a CNC machine, so we can basically make, many different kinds of molds for whatever the client wants. It could be different kinds of keychains, coasters, whatever you name, but we also make we make tables, recycling bins, what else? Keychains. And
Could you make some keychains with this logo on it?
Yes, we can, but that's one thing I have learned though. One thing
Yeah.
we have learned in this process of with the CNC machine, because we got the CNC machine just I think sometime this year. And basically it's doable, but we noticed with this one, the more details you have it, the more work. And so that's just something to take into consideration. Like, because we'll do it, but it'll take a long time when you have more details like that. But if you need something more simple, like something like with wording or shape, so that's part of also like there's definitely been a learning curve on, because I'm involved in this, and it's been exciting because I didn't know anything really about machines. So I've learned a lot in the process of like building our machines, where they're our processing tech that he's very talented in creating our machines and processing this. So it's been fun. And so this is what I want to show our clients, our schools, this whole process, so then they can see, from what happens to the material from the point that you use it to when you take it to the recycling bin, and then what happens after that.
Yeah.
The PET, that material, the bottles we bale. And so we bale until the point that once we're able to fill up a container, then we sell it. And like I mentioned, our goal is to only work domestically with buyers, because we're really just trying to close the loop here in the US. There's a lot of opportunity anyways. There's a lot of buyers now that are very interested in PET versus a few years ago. So that's good. I remember years ago, that's why I decided to start, baling our stuff, and because I couldn't find buyers for any of this plastic. And I knew I had to do something, because it's either, I risk losing business, or I just need to expand. I need to find other ways. And that was a scary move, honestly, that I did, but I'm glad I did it, because it really turned everything around, and that's what we need to do. That's what we need to do. So now we bail and we try to process as much as we can in-house. So
That's excellent. What do you think of the new, I think it's Coke or Pepsi that has this new program where the cap is designed to stay on? Is that helpful for a recycler?
yeah, you know what? I would say that's helpful for general recycling. I'd say like that should be the rule of thumb. But for example, we do have programs where we'll promote like accumulate your bottle caps, because we do have a rebate program for the hard to recycle plastics, which would be bottle caps, HDPE, the PP, any of the plastics that we're processing in-house. And so when it's like a specific recycle, like a customized program, we can announce it that way. But generally we tell our clients just leave the bottle cap. It is easier, and I know that that's what recyclers in general prefer. So we are trying to avoid confusion, but at the same time I do think it's important that that education is customized to the specific region, because that's also where there's a lot of wish for recycling. And yeah, so anyways, I think it's a good idea to leave it on.
Well, thank you so
What
much.
about you?
Oh yeah, so much going on, but I really appreciate your wisdom and your time today. Is there anything else that you wanted to tell the audience about your capabilities, or anything new coming up that you wanted to announce?
Yeah, well, actually, we have some really exciting news that I hope to announce soon. I can't right now because it's not finalized yet,
Okay.
but that should be some really exciting news to announce. And what I would say, if anybody would like to reach out to me for any questions, if I can help, feel free to reach out to our Instagram. I'm always like reading emails there at Lady Green Recycling, or you could go to our website, ladygreenmiami.com. You can email us at the email on the website. I read them all. So if I can help you in any way, I know there's a lot of startups or people interested in getting into the business, and I'm always happy to share any information that I can.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Michelle. Awesome story, and keep up the great work. I'd like to thank Landsberg Aurora for sponsoring this podcast. If you're listening, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next episode, and give us a review. We appreciate that. Make sure to download all the episodes so you don't miss them. Thank you so much, Michelle. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Cory, for having me on. I had a great time.